Recording, sharing. Okay, yesterday we are about to learn how to make an integration with the Google API. Yep. So for that, Google Drive. Uh, so since we are going to do something like that, we need to make an integration between. First, we'll try to reach to the Google Drive and take out the what are be the take out the file details and all the other things from the Google API from the Google Drive. So for that, let's have a look that what we can find. Okay, so we have to look at the means just like that. Just like if the someone tried to access to the Salesforce, yeah, someone tried to access to the Salesforce, then he has to pass through the some few steps. That is, he has to do the authentication, he has to get the access token, and with the help of access token, means he has to first generate the client ID and client secret, and then he has to do the authentication. Yeah, remember, yeah, we have to generate the client ID via connected app. We have to generate the client ID and client secret. With the help of a client ID and secret, we generate the access token, and that access token will help us to access the records or do DML in the do the DML. So similarly, the same thing similarly happens to this type of thing happens to any of the place. If we are making integration with the Google Drive API, the same thing is also going to be happen. That first we need to do authentication, means first we generate the client ID and client secret, and then we have to then we have to do the authentication, and thereafter we can do the uh, access to the get the access and do the DML. Means since we are dealing with the Drive API, means Google Drive API, so we dealing with that insert and update of the files. So first, so let's have a and start the how we are going to do that. So let me log in into the just okay. First, enable the Drive API. Let's enable the Drive API, and first we need to authentication. First we need to do the authentication. So let's search for that. Hmm, 2.0, and then here we have if we need to go access to the Google APIs, we have these six things where we are trying to access. We have web apps, we have JavaScript web apps, we have mobile and desktop apps, TV and device apps, and server account apps. These five things are available. Since we are working with the Salesforce, so Salesforce is a kind of a web server app, so we are using that. And let's have a look at what we need to do that. Identify the scopes and access token. Yep, here. So in order to start with the working with the means authorizing a user, okay, we need to do something like that. Just like the Salesforce, we are doing that auth. Yeah, remember, for the Salesforce we are doing something auth slash token. This is the same kind of URL, but it's for the Google. So we are doing that. Then we have a client ID, redirect URI, response type. These all things are available. These are the things we need to generate. Just like in the Salesforce, we are generating the connected app, and in the connected app, we are generating the client ID, client secret, redirect URI, all those things. Similarly, that we are generating up here, and we have an scope. In the Salesforce, we are also having a scope. Remember that when let me show you that it will make you clear. So actually I'm just trying to make the thing is that the concept is still same whenever we are making integration with any of the server. Means any of the server we are doing, the concept will always same. There is no difference in the concept. We have to just generate the client ID and client secret. We have to do the scope, and the name, only the name is changed, but the concept is still same. So connected. No, it's in app. And I think our my first connected this one. Yeah, here auth scopes. Are we given the full access? Yeah, remember auth scope. We are giving the full access to this. So so here is also a kind of a scope, and we have access type, which is offline. Then we have a state. State is a kind of a parameter that suppose we want to send a value. Let's it's actually the thing is that whenever we are doing the authentication of the with the Google, then whenever we are hitting that authentication, what it will do, that it will open a pop-up in which user select their user account. Yeah, and then once the authentication successful, it will redirect to our page, whatever we define in this whatever we be the defined in the redirect URI, means whatever be the page I defined in this redirect URI. After the authentication, it will redirect to that page. So anything that I make the constant, means any variable or any value that I make to constant throughout the this process, means suppose I want suppose when the user hit the login, or when the user hit the want to grant the access button, means something like that, and it will pop up its Gmail address. It will open the Gmail address, punch in the username, password, and then authentication successful, and it will redirect to that page. Then redirect to our custom redirect to our page that we have defined in the redirect URI. So in all those process, if we want to make something, some variable value does not change, that will be help us to using the state parameter. State parameter always maintain its value throughout the transaction. Okay, so what is the use of this thing? I mean, usually suppose we are making our authentication done from the various devices. Suppose that device can be mobile, that can be device, can be web app, that can be device from any place we are accessing, that we are trying to access try to make integration with the Salesforce, and that exposed at every places. So if a user wants to know that from where the user is accessing our API, that at that time we can use a state parameter, just device name. So if it is a login with a mobile, so all the till starting to the ending of the authentication, that state parameter will contains the device name mobile, and we got to know that, hey, it is authenticated via mobile, or it is authenticated via some server. Okay, and we have a prompt is the thing that whenever these three values are optional, but prompt is usually used. Prompt is something that whenever we are going for the Google Drive authentication, then it will prompt for the user to enter its Google username and password. So that is for that. Suppose uh, if a user we design a authentication process, user clicks on the button, and once the button hit, it will open that it will open that it will open it, and uh, it will open that URL. And once that open the URL, and user enters the user and password, and uh, completed the authentication process, again user comes to that page and hit that button. And at that point, we again want to do the user to the go through the authentication or no. So this is for that. If you want to again want the user to go for the authentication, then we have to some, I think, consent, and yeah, consent, and else it will means once time with the when the user authenticated, it will not be used. So let's first generate these things. client ID and client secret, just like we are generating in the connected app. So since we are making integration with the Google Drive, so we also have to generate a client ID, and you can find that client ID in the credential page. So let's open this. Create credential, and we need to generate a client ID. I clicked on client ID. Okay. What is asking? Available, try, create app. Let's create an app before making, just like that connected. Remember, for the connected app, we are doing the same thing. We are giving the app name and all those things. Same thing up available up here, and it gives the app name. So my Salesforce Drive app. Let's make that thing to create it at some. I don't want to create in my personal one. Actually, that was creating in my personal Gmail address, so I want to change that. I don't want to create on my personal. What is 99? It's already generated. Okay, last time I think we started and created this connected app. Okay, let's delete it and create a new one. Application type is our web application, and to Salesforce. To Salesforce client. Okay, and I create this. Okay, it's created, and I can see that client ID and client secret got created. Now we need to add a redirect URI. Currently, we don't know what is the redirect URI. Where should the go? Let's log in into that Salesforce. 95030. Okay, so let's create a page that will accept the callback. We haven't discussed about the page that okay, let's take a okay, and just I'm just creating a Visualforce page, and I know that we haven't discussed about that how to create a Visualforce page. Just like that, I'm just doing a small thing that it's a page that we have Salesforce provided to design some pages. Means if you want to design some custom UI, then it has some option that you can use to design the page. But it's not depreciating, so it's not to be. It's not to be means it's about that nowadays we are not working with the Visualforce pages, but it's available. So I'm just taking a help, and in the real world we are not going to do with that. But right now, since we haven't discussed anything else about that, means we haven't discussed about the Aura components or Lightning Web components. So that's why I'm just using the Visualforce pages to demonstrate. And it's a learning is quite simple because it's quite simple to HTML. So just like that, in that it's just a HTML, and in this I just it has some parameters. Let's and in that I just design a button. It's a HTML button. Know that you already know that, or instead of design this button, it's an anchor tag, and do anchor tag, and then href. You know that HTMLs or no?
Yes.
Yeah, so just it's the same thing. Google Drive auth. Actually, I need a callback URI so that once the it's got successful where it's come. So I just make it. It should come up here on this page. Actually, it is page created by us, so that's why I just created a small page in the Salesforce and use this callback. Use this URL to here callback redirect URI. So save it. Okay, so now it's done. We created the client ID, client secret, and callback URI here. Apart from that, we have a scope and we have everything. So let's how to make a request. Here is saying that in order to make a request, you have to do this. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Let's quietly zoom it. Okay, so it says that we have to do authentication with this. We have a scope, we have access type, offline, grant, response type, state, redirect URI, and client ID. So let's scope. Here it's metadata drive. It's scope. It's so before discussing about the scope, let's see what should be in our scope. Since we are making an integration with the Google Drive, so let's have a look at the Google Drive scopes. So I want to get all the files. So for getting all the files, in the bottom it is defined that it should have all these scopes. So let's copy that, all the scopes, and since we copied, just make it all the scopes to be space separated, because it accept space separated. Always remember the steps. These are the very important things. Might be it's confused, might be if you got the things, then it's cool, because I'm just doing the copy and paste, nothing else, nothing more. Then I come up here, this scope, and then I replace this scope to our scope. Okay, and thereafter we have access type. It should be offline. It's mentioned over up there. Include grant scope should be true. Okay, response type is a code. Okay, state state parameter. State is just a parameter. Let's pass some value, just like test. It's a constant thing, remember. And then we have a redirect URI. Redirect URI, what's the redirect URI? We added up and over here. Let's see that what's the redirect URI. This one. Copy this and come up here, and then redirect URI, replace the redirect URI with our redirect URI. And then we have at last thing, we have a client ID. So client ID is here. Okay, now it's this is our first thing that will help us to authenticate that user and get the what we are getting after that. Once we are successfully done with that, then we get the consent and access denied. Yeah, once we process that thing, then we go the authorization code in the response and build something like that. This is our what will be the URL, and then this will be the code. It will come something like that. Okay, so let's receive the code. So for receiving the code, I do that, and then I come up here and let's merge that thing. Means that is the URL that will help us for the authentication. So I'm just changing to here and pasting that here, and hit quick save. And to the preview. On clicking that, it will open that, and it should, oh, might be I have make some mistake in the URL. That's it's showing that granted scope offline include granted scope. I think there is some offline. Oh, there is a missed and. Okay, let's put up there again. Copy the whole thing and come up here and go to our page, and let's change the, actually just a thing that you know that anchor tag, when you click on the anchor tag, it will open some URL. Yeah, remember that thing? It's the same thing. So I just want to open that URL on hitting some button or something like that. So that's why I generated a page. So whenever I click on this Google Drive auth, it will open a URL. That only for that thing I just generated that page. So when I click on this, it will ask for the permission. Let's add some other. Yeah, I'm using the connected app with some other Google account, and for authentication, yeah, for the authentication means a user can be the different Gmail user. So I'm using a different Gmail account, and then once it in, it asking for the verification. Let's verify that. It asking for the permissions, that all the permission that we have added on the scopes. Ask, and ask, and ask. We allowed all the permission, and then we again allowed. Once it finished, it will come back to our self URL and the whatever with the page, and in that page, if you see that it's come with a code. If you see that in the URL, Control C, let's paste that URL. You can see that this is our what are with the redirect URI, and then we have a state. Since I mentioned that state is a thing that will constant throughout the thing, throughout the page, and then at the end we have a scope code, this code, and then we have a scope. So we have to deal with the code. So let's copy the code. We got the code. Okay, now code, we got the code. Now let's move to the next step. What we need to do, what we have to do next. I come up here and authorization refresh token. Now first we get the code, and thereafter they have a process to get the token. Okay, so for getting the token, authorization refresh token, for getting the token we need the client ID, client secret, and a code, grant type, and redirect URI. That's the thing, we know that. Let's prepare the code. Let's prepare this for the authorization. So replace the code with the code. And replace the client ID. Here we have a client ID. Then we need a client secret. Where is our client secret? Here is the client secret. Paste the client secret. Then we need our redirect URI. Redirect URI is again the same. Then last is the grant type is authorization code. So now we are completed. Now we have completed the body. Okay, we completed the body. What is mentioned, and it's asking to make a post request. Since here it is not asking to make a post request, remember here it's not a post, you just want to open this URL. So that's why I just use that to a button that will just, whenever I click on that button, it will log into it and come back with the post URL. But here, where is that? Yeah, but here asking that we have to make a post request. So post is not possible to make via Visual Force page. It is not possible over there. So for that, we remember that we are using Postman to making a post request. So just we're going to use that Postman again for making a request, a post request. So we have to make a post request on this URL. Okay, let's copy that and paste up here. We convert it to the post, and in the body here, and this here, this is our body. and content type X. What is that? It should mention up here X application X URL form encoded. It's not very behaving, so let's do via here. So first file is code. Let's paste the code and paste the code value. And then we have a client ID. And then we have a client secret. Always remember this is steps. Yeah. Means this is the most common steps, and this will always be in use. Means you are going to use at every place. So steps are important. We only means if you are working with any different API, different authentication, you just values are changing, but the steps and are remain same. So okay, authorization code. Okay, we prepare that thing, and X URL encoded. It's mentioned. So we need to use that, and then we need to hit the send button. Let's check. No, it's got success. We got the access token. Yeah, we got the access token, and that's our main goal. We got the access token. Now what happened? Once we got the access token, now we are able to get the API and get the list of all those files, because that is the most important thing. We got the access token. So let's come back to our API. So this is now the once we got the access token, it means that our authentication process completed. We got the access token, our authentication process got completed. Now we come up here and what is that? Now where is my Google Drive API? Yeah, here. Here is the file list. Now let's have a look. Let's access this. File list via access token. So we got the access token, and it says that to accessing the file list, we need to work with this URL. So I copy that URL and come up here. Then it is mentioned that we need to use the GET request. So let's create a new and paste a GET here. GET is already up here. And then for accessing that thing, how we are accessing, it is also mentioned at somewhere place. It's no issue with that. Code, we got the code, we got the access token. Now we got the access token. Now we can pass the access token like this way. Yeah, access token and access token, and we can also pass the access token like in this way. Authorization bearer. So let's where is my postman? Come up here. Authorization. Sorry, it will be in header. Why are you sending in the para? Authorization or bearer, and what is our access token? Access token, it's coming up here. Let's copy this one. Send it. Okay, we got the file names. Let me show you that these are the files are available in the drive. Let's have a look here. It's let me log in into that. No, we have to actually that is related to that's different Gmail account. No? Now, where is my drive? Here is my drive. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 files are available up here, and in the response, I'm getting that 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 files, and you can see that name, enterprise WHL, diet SVG, and getting started. These are the file names, and these are the same are available up here. And if suppose I can add, if I upload any one more file. So I did up here, and when I again make a request, that will also come up here, and that is here. So in this way, we are able to make a request to that Google Drive and get the file's name up here. Yeah, it's the same thing, just like that we are making a request to get the records. Yeah, we are getting the records. We can update the records, we can delete the records. These are things are available up here. If I look at the files, then I can create file. Yeah, I can create file. So for creation of the file, I can delete file, I can update file, I can export file. These all things we can do that. Let's create a file. So creating a file, what we need to do that, we need to do something like that. It's asking for the key. Okay, it needs a key and access token both. Okay. We need to make a post request on this with a key and authorization, and then getting a file and creating a file has same URL. How can this possible? Post. Okay, we are just only method is changing. We are doing post at that time we are using get. Okay, that's right. Okay, let's check. We need to use a key. So we haven't. We need to create an API key. So for API generation of the API key, it is also available up here. If I click on my credentials, here you can see that there is no API key. Let's create an API key. Okay, copy this API key because we are going to use this API key. Okay, close it. Now what I need to do that I need to come up here. So I need to make a post request to this. So let's copy this and go to the Postman. Sorry, let's copy all of this here till here. And then key, here is my key. Okay, and I need to do post, and then I need to authorization header, authorization bearer, and my access token that I think it's here. Yeah, it's here. Let's copy and paste it here. And then I need a content type because it's mentioned that I need to use a content type. And I need to also accept with a star. So let's remove this standard one and put our custom, that is application JSON. And then we have a body. In body it's using something. Let's put okay, and just put this is the random body, nothing else, nothing more, and I hit the send. It's got created, it's got success. Let's put let's see if that in the drive it is created or not. So this one, I think it's this one. Yeah, name test, or this one. No, this one. Yeah. Okay, so you can see it is created up here. Now there must be some parameter to change the name of that file. I need to take a look at that because it's creating by untitled. Info single parent. Yeah, it's okay, man. It just have to we need to do some research that how we can give the name of that file. Yeah, there is a property called name in the request body. They haven't sent the how to use the file name. Content type, content length. Okay, here is that. You should specify the extension in the name property while creating the file with a API. For example, in an operation, GPG, something like that, get in the metadata. And okay, in the metadata, I can use this and how I can. No, it's not. Okay, it's a thing. Whenever you have to work, then we have to just first you have to know that how it is working. So you have to get familiar with that. These are the things that you need to means we need to make a more research that how we get that, how to add a file name. But before that, we just know that how to make an authentication and create, update, or delete the files. That is the same way. If you want to delete that, just come up here and just we have to hit the delete and file/file ID. So let's do that here. I want to delete this file. I just created. Here is the ID of that file. I just copy this ID and say up here and hit the send. Usage limits. Okay, daily. Okay, might be it's a free usage limit is empty. Since I don't want since I'm using the free API, so there is a limit over there. So it's not a paid API. So might be there's 2 or 4 limits to use that Google API. The thing is that, so it's telling that we got an error with that API thing. Okay, so it's okay. Means it's not a thing that might be after some time you will get. But the thing is that you need to know the concept, how to make an authentication and get the access token from the Drive API and able to get the files present in that API. So that's the important thing, that how you have to do that. Okay, so daily limit for authentication is exceeded. Continue as required. Or might be I need to do a re-sign up, then it will help. Let's preview. Might be I will do the re-sign up, then it will reset the limit. Let's do that. Yeah, I got the code. Here is the code. With the help of a code, I will get the access token. Yeah, I got the access token. Now let's see that if it's work or not. I'm still getting error or not. Compare. Yeah. Oh, sorry, it's a get. I need to delete that file now. Put the delete method send. Yeah, it's deleted. If I come up here, so that file is gone. Yeah, you can see that file is not available up here. So that is the that is how we are working. Means that is how this is working with the access token and all those things. So that is the important thing, that while working with the Salesforce and while working with the any third party API, how we are doing that. We'll learn that how we are working with the Salesforce. The Salesforce is also have the same concept, that we have to generate the client ID and client secret, and then use the authentication and get the access token. And with the access token, you can do whatever with the means. Might we have to just insert, update, delete, whatever the action we have to perform. Similarly, for the Google Drive API, we also have to do the same thing. Means we have to just create client ID and client secret, do the authentication, and make the whatever we need to do that. So it's for the each and every Google product. Means it's for the, if you are using Google Drive API, then we have to just follow this. But before that, we need to do the authentication. You know that. If we are using the Google Map, then we also have to do the same thing. If we are using the there are so many. Let's take a look at how many APIs are available. Google APIs. So we have these many APIs available in the Google. There's so many APIs. Okay. So for any of the API that we are using, we have to follow that till authentication process. We have to follow those steps till the authentication process. Once the authentication finished, get the access token and make a request to any of the API. It's working fine. You just have to click on any and go to their ways how it defined. Yeah, get the and just work with that. It's just so simple, but there since we are so many APIs, so many APIs are present out there. So the authentication process remains same. Uh, Only the making request to that API is changing, and changing what? Only the URL and body is changing. Means only URL, this URL, yeah, or URL and headers and body is changing. Apart from that, everything is remains same. The way is remains same. Okay. So this is the way how we do the, it's just an example to you that how we have to think and how we have to do the uh, authentication to any other platform, authentication to any other platform to get the details and work with those details. Okay. And you can also see that in the all those in all of this the response we are getting in a JSON format. All the response means in any other response that we are getting is in the JSON format. Yeah, you can see it is presented in JSON format. This is also presented in JSON format. This is also presented in JSON format. Everything is presented in a JSON format. So uh, we have to know that means this is actually this is that's why the JSON is very important for making a transaction between two to transition the data from one place to another place. Okay, so that's it, and let's have a break. After that we will discuss that how we can do that this thing whole thing via code, because we haven't discussed that how this thing means we had checked that how we to achieve this thing means via Postman. We have checked that means Postman is for the testing, you all know that Postman is only for the testing purpose, nothing more and nothing less. So we tested that and we got that hey, we are able to do the we are able to get the APIs, we are able to authenticate, we are able to make the request. Now we have to convert this whole thing in a code so that the selfers will do this thing automatically. Okay, so we will take a look at that after the break. Okay, so just if you guys have any question, please ask.
Trying to understand. There's a lot of information, Suraj. Are you hearing? Are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. There's a lot of information, and we have everyday class. I mean, um, we have other things also like working, do this, family. Just it's really just watching one time because all those things are very new for us. Not just Postman. Postman maybe we know, but still there's a lot of new things. Maybe we need the one day like Janet Hanım say digestion day. Like listening, like for example we watch you right now, and evening time we
Okay,
have.
no issue that we can actually what I'm thinking, I'm also thinking about the same thing that now since we are going to means going to be developer part and means once we are moving into that, it's taking time. Yeah, it's a quite of thing means large amount of things are available on the
Yeah.
means in us means we are discussing so many part things at the same time.
Yes,
So we can what I'm thinking that I will just Mm, I'm thinking that I will just like before the lunch we will take a look at that what we are going to learn, and after the lunch we will take a look at your assignments and all those things that how you guys are working. I will give you some live things, so you have
yes,
to do that thing. So
it's
we are
really
prepared on the
convenient.
same thing.
Yes,
And
yes. Because every day we have new something, I'm gonna listen this. Maximum I can watch one more time till tomorrow, and again we have new topic or continuing on this. So we didn't even practice it. For example, I'm telling you about myself. Maybe guys they do, and I'm forgetting. For example, if your last assignment that you gave, it's very simple and it's very thanks Priya. She helps me a lot, but we know all this, we pass, but because of we didn't do any practice, like what it was, how it was like, then I say, hey, I'm gonna be developer and I'm gonna be admin. I cannot do this without PS help, or I mean I did already, but there's a lot of mistakes because behalf of assignment, I never do the practice because I don't have the chance to do this. You know, I have to study. I have to prepare myself. I mean, I know it's not your fault or it's somebody's fault, but maybe it will be. I know it's gonna be a little longer, but maybe with the digesting days between those, knowledge will be more effective. I think. Otherwise, there's a lot of things going on around, and those are all new things for us. I mean, thanks God we know the coding, but still, there is, oh my God, this small peak list, meek list things. There's a lot of things. I mean, we have to practice it. We have to learn it. So, uh, for a couple days, maybe we'll practice. It will be more better. Whatever we learn until right now, and how you said you already planned it. Yeah, it will be good idea. Don't get me wrong, Suraj.
No, I'm not getting it wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I know the Indian couple songs too. I'm memorizing. I'm just kidding. To just change the atmosphere because everything goes to the very serious, and I don't want to get understand me wrongly. So that's why. Anyway, yeah, we it will be better, Suraj, because there's a lot of information. I'm just sitting right now, and you know what?
Sami, I actually agree with you,
Yes,
but
but
these type of courses are designed for the
fastest
for
growing.
targeting the fastest and smartest people like Char and who else?
Like
Ramesh,
you,
Janet. No, not me. I don't
hey,
have time
you.
to do homeworks. To be honest, I'm not doing homeworks because
I mean,
I'm
homework.
full day. I'm full. Like until 1 hour ago, I was working.
Resume the recording. Okay, let's start. So whenever we are making a request from something like that, whenever we are making the request, we need this is called URL. This is called method, and we have a headers. In the post method, we have a URL, and we have a method, we have a header, and also we have a body. So these four items are available for the post method. So Salesforce, whenever we have to do such kind of things via Salesforce, we have to make a call out, and for doing a call out, we need to use the HTTP request class. Okay, HTTP request class means we are requesting to some server and doing a call out. So we have to make a HTTP request class, take a help of a HTTP request class. In this, we set the endpoint. Endpoint is called the URL. Then we have a method. Then we have a header, and then we have a body. So for that, first we have to create a class. In that, we have to declare the methods. So let's copy this and then paste up here. Okay, now let's copy the endpoint. Here it's first we will get the access token via the endpoint. So via making a request. So I copy and paste up here. Auth. Then we have to set the body. Then we have to set the body method. We have to set the method also. Let's set the method. And then we have to set the body. So for setting the body, let's review the HTTP request class. It's a set body. Set first we set header. Header. Yeah, here is the header set. Sorry, not set header. Set header. Yeah. So header as a key and value parameter. So set header. So I will come up here. Request dot set header. In that I will need to key and value. So key. Where is my postman? Header. We have set the header content type. Where is that here? And then we have a value. In the value, I need application JSON. Then I need to set the body. So request dot set body, and the body why it's not showing in the raw form. Showing in the kernel. Wow, it's not showing in the raw form. Or I created the body up here. Where is that? Where is my code and all those things? Here. Here it is. It's getting too long. Just declare a string and separate something like that. Okay, I just created a body and is a string, and because I'm doing that thing because it's doing so much longer. It's not everything comes in the same screen, so that's why. Let's hit the save. Okay, it's a request. We are preparing the request. We set the endpoint, we set the method, we set the header, and we set the body. We set all those things. Now now my request is completed. So now I need to send the request. So for the send the request, we need to create a HTTP response class. We have to go and then send the request. And once the request finish, it will all the response come in that request. Response in the sense, where's my postman? Response is all things. These are body, status code, time, size, everything comes in a response. So, and header, this is also comes in a response. So from that, all those response, I'm just getting body of that response. I'm debugging the body, what I'm getting in the body. Okay. And let's make it public. So let's do a call out method dot to call post call out, and I execute. When I execute, it throws an error. You can see that. Let's execute. So it's asking that I need to add a security remote site setting. Okay, I need to add in a remote site setting. What I need to add that this thing I need to add in a remote site setting. So let's copy it. It's a security issues that Salesforce throws that whenever we are making a request to any third-party server, we need to add that into the remote site setting. Let's create a remote site setting. Request URL. It's auth Google. Save. Now it's added. Now again make a request. Execute. Now it's done. Let's open the logs. And when I click on debug, it's showing me that invalid grant and bad request. The same thing I can also see up here if I click on send. You can see invalid grant and bad request. It's only due to that the code is expired. So let's regenerate the code. Where is my page? Yeah, click on Google Author. It's generated. Let's Control C. Where is my code? Here. Save it. No, in this, we can see in the response, I got the access token. Yeah. Now, I am not able to extract this access token. Yeah, I'm not able to extract this access token because how can I extract it? It's in a JSON format. So for extracting a value from a JSON format, we remember we have no, we haven't talked about that. Working with the JSON. So working with the JSON is a very important thing that it's a very important. So let's since I got this response, so I need to convert that response into so that the code will read. So for that, we have another thing called JSON. What is that? JSON. So I think that string comma object parse JSON, something like that. Yeah, string to hash map. But it's I need in Apex. Yeah, this one. So I'm getting a response from here, and here I'm just converting that JSON. What will be the JSON I got it from here? Remember, I just converting a JSON into a map, and into a map so that I can get the value from the JSON. Okay, I'm just converting that JSON into a map because it's a key value pair. JSON is a key value pair, and it can easily converted into a map. And the format of the map should be something like that: string comma object. Why we are making objects? Because object is a thing that it's a comma generalized. It's a general data type. Because in this response, you can see in the response, this is a string and this is a number, and this is a string, this is a string. Means it is a combination of string and number, and so we can't specify anything up here that it's a string or it's a number. We can't specify that. So that's why we just make as an object. So everything just passed into object, and whenever I want to extract that value, I just typecast at that moment. So that's why we make it as an object. So this is a very important thing, that how we are parsing. Okay, so response map, yeah, JSON.deserialize, and I will type here res. What will be the response I'm getting? I'm getting the response in response that get body. So just put up here. Okay, since now since it's a map, so we can do all the things that we can do with the map. So for we can do the loops. And if you guys remember, debug. Okay, since code is valid for a one time, so I need again regenerate the code. Let me regenerate the code because code is valid for a single time. Okay, I got the code.
So for this kind of queries, every time you need to create new code and test it. How does it work?
No, because we haven't learned so many things. That's why we need to generate the code. Else, once we learn the other things, that how to store the code and how to
Regenerate.
how to regenerate the code, yeah, automatically. Since we haven't learned that thing, so we are just using that what you know. Okay, so again, doing the same thing, and I just do what in there. Execute. Might the code is missed. Wrong code. It is this wrong code. Okay, let's regenerate. Person to F0. Not safe is included. Okay, we got the access token, and you can see that in the debug I got the access token, I got the key and value pairs, all those things. So it means that in the access token I got the key, I got the access token. So it will be response.map.get, and in that I will pass what is the value. So I will pass up here and get the access token because it's acting as a map, and So I got the access token. I'm not going to again do the same thing. So it's wasting the time. Now I can use this access token to make a request to get the files, list of files. And where is that? Here. For getting the list of files, we are here and we are here. We have to do the authorization. We have to do auth header and there. So let's create a method for getting files. Okay. So in order to get the files, again, we have to do the same thing. So just copy and paste the things. HTTP request instead of request, I need this one. Files, method is same. Content type, I think change. There is no content type. Okay, we need to do get. So let's do the get. And we need to set the header. Header is called authorization. And it should be bearer and the access token. So let's do that the way that bearer, and instead of access token, just plus put is a parameterize. Okay, I will pass in the parameter access token. There is no request body, just remove the request body. Now it's our request is completed. Now create a response. Let's have a look at how the response is coming. So response is coming something like that. It's also a JSON format, but it's a quite different JSON format. It's not a symbol that it's not a simple, it's something more complex. It's a JSON, and inside the JSON there is an array. So whenever we have got a situation that we have such kind of a complex JSON format, means it's not a simple that's like here is a simple one, means it's just a key and value pair. There is no apart from it. But here we have a key and value pair, but it still contains an array and also these types of things. Whenever we have a such kind of complex JSON format, then we can't do something like that. We can't do, means it's quite not easy to handle with this one. Yeah, it's quite not easy to handle this one via this one. So at that moment, what we need to do that, we need to just copy this JSON format, and there is a call JSON to Apex. Yeah, JSON to Apex tool. Just paste that JSON format and generate the Apex code. What will we do that? It will generate the Apex code for you. So whatever the JSON you are pasting up here, it will generate the Apex code for you. What will be the code? Just copy that code and come up here and paste it here. Okay. Now remove these things because it's for the test. Just remove that thing. And since it's an inner class, so let's remove that thing. And this is a class, so cut it, go to that new Apex class, just make it what should be that file reader, file response, file reader. Let's file reader class. And because class name is different, that's why I'm just doing that thing. Okay. So I created a file reader class that will have the same JSON format that is generated via this admin Apex to JSON. Okay, actually its name is form JSON, so I don't want to that form JSON. I want to change its name to file reader class, and then And again, it has this method, test method. I don't want to use this test method, so I remove this test method and put this only these things, what will be the required. So you can see that it has a variables just like kind, incomplete search, and files. These are the same variables that are coming from up here. And then we have these kind of things. And okay, now we are going to use this for the and it has, okay, you can also take a look at it. Has a, what is form.class, instead of form.class we have to put this one. Save.
Also
Okay.
change return.
Okay, now it's safe. You can see there is a method. This method is, we are going to, this method will, what it will do, that it will pass the JSON into this particular class. So we are going to use this.
It's very complex. Can you explain like how it works? Because
It's very complex. Okay.
yeah, I didn't get, like, class name is file reader class. Inside, is this like file reader class parse, like this method name is like main method or something like that? Line 13.
Line 30. It's just a method. It's a class, and its class has a method called file reader, and whose method is name is parse, and its return type is class. It's a return type. It's return type.
File reader class is return time or parse is return type?
Parse is a method name, and this is a, remember, method name. It's a return type, and it's a parse. It's a return type, integer, strings, just like that. We are returning a class object. It's a return type. Is a class, means it's return a class object, and parse is a method. We can also then parse JSON so that it will be. So it's a method. It's a method name, and it will take a JSON as an input. So what will we get as JSON as an input? And then JSON as an input, it will pass the chat JSON according to this class. Okay.
And at the end, it's returning this CLS files as an object.
At that, it will returning this thing, this whole file reader class as an object.
Okay.
Okay, so once we come up here, we got the response body, and then we call our method file reader class. And then we have method parse JSON. And let's store this in an object. I will create, since it's returning in an object, so files object, let's create a files object and store whatever the response I'm getting from here. And let's, now I want to see the file names. So file names are present in these files. So, sorry, files object dot CLS files. Not CLS file, it's files. Sorry, it's files. Okay, so I'm not going to again do this thing. I'm just taking out the, what will be the, from the logs, I'm just taking out the my access token and use that access token to call this method. It's not. Or let's first do that in a way. So I got the access token. Now for after getting the access token, I will do that again, do a call out and use this access token to get the files. So in this way, or let's store that thing in a variable. Access token, response dot get access token, and I will pass this access token to this method. It's showing me problem. Where is the problem? So it shows that it's just an object, so I don't need to pass it into a string. Okay, so let's generate the code. Code is here. So when I generate, click on here, what will we do that? It will use this code, generate the access token, use this access token and get the files. And the files will be show up in this here, passed. That's not passed. Or rest files body. Okay, save. Now let's do post call out. Post call out will call the post call out. After that, it will call get files. So let's execute. Okay. Actually, the endpoint is changed. This is Google APIs. Let's add into that remote site setting. Files, Google API. Okay, then I again come up here and I hit the execute. Now it executed. Debug. Oh, it's saying the bad request. Showing me bad request. Let's again generate the code. Yeah, got the access token. I passed the access token. Thereafter, I got this body as a body, and then once I got the body, I pass that and get the body in a CLS file. It will do the parsing and convert that thing in a object of a class. It help now. Why I'm converting that? Because now it's very easy to get the file name and all those things. So since this is a list of that thing, where it I'm on. Since it is a list, so I can get the file names up here. Or since it's a list of file and this its data type is class CLS file, so I will use the CLS file and file object dot file. And CLS file, it's not accessible directly because it's a inner child of that. So I will use the file reader dot CLS file. And here I can put the file names, file dot, suppose I want to put name, so I want get name, and here I can get the Mhm. 50 method is not visible, means it's, let's make it okay. So I'm not again going to use the access token. Let's use the already created access token from here. Value, yeah, value. Okay. Yeah, I can see now the file names are coming up. Let's put a debug file. Yeah, I got the files body, and then I got the file names untitled, enterprise, diet, depression, get started. So I got the file name in the Apex class. So this is the way that how we are making call out. The important thing is that how we are making call out and how we pass the response into according to that our usage, because passing the response and getting the values from the response is an important thing. That so for making a call out, we have to go through these things, and we have to set the endpoints. That same thing that we have done done in the Postman. Means whatever we are doing in the Postman, we can do that thing in a Apex, via Apex. Whatever we can do on the Postman, that thing we can do via Apex. And what the parameters that we are sending via the Postman, it is what are the parameter that we are sending via Postman. We can do the same thing here via using the HTTP request class that provides the method, and that is set endpoint, set method, set header, set body. All these methods are available up here, and you just have do and make a HTTP callout. This line will this line is making an HTTP callout, means it will using this all the parameters and making a request to that server and get the response. And whatever the response we can get up here, and then we have a, on the basis of response that we are getting, we have to decide that what we need to do. Suppose the response are getting a simple, just object and just key and value pair, just directly use this one. It will convert that key and object to a map, and we can directly access that thing. And suppose we got an object, suppose we got a response some complex, then it is not directly parsable from here. It's because we can't pass the loop, because if you use the loop, means loop, why I'm talking about the loops, because the response, it comes in a some complex way. So it is quite hard to use this one, means it's quite hard to use this one. So instead of using that, just whatever we can do, that we just copy the copy all over the request. And what I can do, that just go to the Apex to JSON, here, there, JSON to Apex, paste the response and generate the Apex code. Okay, so it will generate the Apex code. Apex class means it generate an Apex class which has that which has the value, those values. And then just you copy the class and paste up here and create a class. Create a class. After create a class, you will see that there is a method which will pass the JSON and return the object of that class. So that is the method. Use that method. So whatever we are making a request, getting the complex response. Once you're getting the complex response, pass that response with that newly generated class and get that object of the class. And once you get the object of the class, then all the Apex perform. You can perform the loops. You can perform everything. So you can do everything from here. So this is the way how we are making a call out. The important thing that you have to learn from here is that how we are making a call outs, how we are parsing the JSON, parsing a JSON response, and take out the value from the JSON response. Okay, so that is this. So any questions?
This is very similar to what we learned as a QA. We have REST assured library. Probably most of us here, so that yeah. Anyways, it makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, then we are good. If you don't have any questions.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Should everyone complete the assignment, or should I increase something on that assignment? Should I give some new thing in that?